want to hear a great story? And before we get into this, I have to preface that there's gonna be just someone who annoys me, who's gonna be like, why would your husband even let you out the door like that? Because just because his parts fits in mine does not negate the fact that I'm a badass and he knows it, okay? Live and let go. Sorry. So my husband's playing the VR game, the NFL Pro Era. My brother-in-law works on the game, and so he was like, oh, let's try this out. My husband and I's marriage is nothing if not bits, start to finish, and we will go for the laugh every time. My husband, am I in frame? My husband's literally like, go! And he's like screaming at Travis Kelce like this. He's giving pep talks in the huddle. He's doing the whole thing, right? It's obviously blinding, very funny. Like, oh, it'd be so funny if I sent a video to my brother-in-law and my sister of him being a silly little goose. I can see through our dining room, which has a mirror, which shows me the dining room door. Like the entry into our dining room from the outside. There we're laughing, and then I see movement in the mirror, and I'm like, excuse me? I see two figures doing this into our window while we're home in broad daylight. We had just had a crew here working on the other door, but I was like, they don't fit the bill, they're not wearing the same clothes. This is all like in a second. Some of your mothers didn't grow up with a childhood friend being kidnapped. It was taught to pay attention to everything all the time. Stay alive. Kelsey, over there! Like, he's doing the full thing, and I'm like, this is an invasion. Only 0.1 seconds has passed. And I mean, so I start running and I say, there are kids outside. I've already locked in that the one's wearing a freaking Dare shirt, by the way, which to be fair, doesn't cover break-ins, just drugs. Run all the way through, fling open the door, and I'm barefoot, by the way, which if I'm these kids' parents, very embarrassing. If I'm these kids, very embarrassing. Not only am I barefoot, caught off guard, I've also got a condition that affects my heart rate. However, that same condition is responsible for making my adrenaline go crazy, which means in a time of need, I'm an apex predator. Bless his heart, he's got this on full blast volume-wise. He's not hearing me, so I'm halfway to the yard still yelling, there are kids in our yard! If our yard were just a little bit longer, I would have had him by the back of the neck. I'm at like the last 10 feet, they hop over our fence. Not well, by the way. Again, very embarrassing. So my husband then comes running out and he's like, what's happening? I was like, they're already over the fence. Like, what are you doing? My husband puts on like a really authoritative, like, what are you kids doing voice? And they panicked. They had a little panic moment. They're like, oh, no. Just to be clear, we don't have an accessible backyard. It's very steep. It's infested with rattlesnakes and coyote dens. That's how I knew they didn't belong in the neighborhood. And they willingly went on our hill. No one who lives in our neighborhood would go on this hill because it's not safe. And so my husband's like, I think they're on the phone. They're probably calling someone to pick them up. And I was like, ooh, because if there's something I love, it's a chase. Where are we going, boys? Where are we going? I'm in apex predator mode still, okay? I go to the far end of our yard and I'm like standing up on stuff and I can see them on the street below. My husband's making us pasta and garlic bread. He just put the garlic bread in. He's like, I'm not leaving to go find these kids. I'm like, we have